The Russo-Japanese War, that is, the war fought between Japan and Russia at the beginning of the 20th century. In the previous article, I explained how the Russo-Japanese War ended with the repulsion of the Russian attack at the Battle of Koyogai. In this article, we will discuss counterintelligence warfare, which was unusual for the Japanese military, conducted in faraway European lands. The Japanese military has traditionally tended to downplay information warfare. However, only at the time of the Russo-Japanese War, the company invested vast sums of money to acquire secret Russian information and to provide generous assistance to Russian rebel groups. This espionage was entrusted to a single man. That man was Motojiro Akashi. After the Russo-Japanese War, German Emperor Wilhelm II is said to have said that Akashi alone was responsible for a battle result equivalent to that of 200,000 Japanese troops in Manchuria. In this article, I will explain Motojiro Akashi's activities in Europe. Motojiro Akashi was born in 1864 in the family of a retainer of the Fukuoka clan. In 1889, he graduated from the Army War College, which trained the elite of the army, and served as a military officer stationed overseas. In 1902, he became the military attaché to Russia. At that time, Russia was a virtual enemy, and gathering Russian intelligence was a very important mission. After arriving in Russia, he became friends with Sidney Riley of the British Secret Intelligence Service through intelligence cooperation in the Anglo-Japanese alliance. At Akashi's request, he pretended to be a traitor and opened a company in the strategically important city of Lodhun. He then gained the trust of the Russian military command and conducted espionage activities while doing business with them. He obtained classified information on the Russian military in Manchuria and drawings of the fortress at Port Arthur, and continued to send information to Japan and Great Britain. When the Russo-Japanese War broke out in 1904, Akashi, who had been at the Russian legation, moved to Stockholm, Sweden, a neutral country, where he began his activities. Akashi was assigned to the temporary position of Resident General Staff in Europe, reporting directly to the General Staff headquarters. Akashi had such high expectations from Kodama that he even received words of encouragement from Kodama, Chief of Staff of the Manchurian Army. The high expectations were reflected in the size of the sum of money given to Akashi. Of the 230 million national budget at the time, 1 million yen was given to Akashi personally as an amount he was free to spend. It is 0.5% of the national budget. Incidentally, the U.S. national budget for FY 2023 is $5.792 trillion, which means that $28.9 billion was given to Akashi alone. What did Akashi use the money for? It was used as support money for Russian rebels. How did Akashi come up with this? It has a lot to do with his background. Akashi participated in the Spanish-American War of 1898 as a spectator military officer. In the battle between the U.S. and Spanish forces in the Philippines, the U.S. forces promised the local Filipino independence activists that they would guarantee their independence if you defeated the Spanish forces. In response to this promise, Filipino independence activists engaged in guerrilla activities, much to the chagrin of the Spanish army. Russia controlled Finland and Poland and sought to incite unrest in Russia by supporting independence activists in these countries. He also contacted and financed rebel groups in Russia, as dissatisfaction with the Romanov dynasty was growing within Russia as well. Through Kauni Siliekos of the Finnish Revolutionary Party, which was leading the revolutionary movement at that time, Akashi became acquainted with various resistance organizations. Akashi gave them money and weapons, and supported demonstrations, strikes, and other sabotage. As these activities of Akashi and reports of Russia's defeat in the Russo-Japanese War continued, demonstrations and strikes in Russia increased. The political instability in Russia is said to have worsened to the point where the war could not be carried out. With the help of Kauni Siliekos of the Finnish Revolutionary Party, Akashi organized a conference to unite all anti-Russian forces in countries controlled by Russia by having them all gather in Paris. He also financed the Socialist Revolutionary Party, a revolutionary party in Russia, to assist Evno Fishelovich Otsev in his terrorist activities. They say there is a possibility that Akashi may have been involved in the assassination of Interior Minister Prevey and the assassination of Prince Sergei caused by Otsev. However, there is no evidence that Akashi was involved in the Bloody Sunday incident, which triggered the First Russian Revolution, or the rebellion on the battleship Potemkin. Finally, in order to launch an armed uprising by the masses, 24,500 rifles and 4.2 million rounds of ammunition were procured in Switzerland and transported to Rotterdam, the Netherlands. From there, they were transported by ship to the Black Sea and the Baltic Sea. About half 8,400 of the 16,000 guns sent to the Baltic Sea were confiscated when the ship ran aground, but the rest were in the hands of revolutionary elements. One of his achievements was that many in Russian society were sympathetic to Japan, and in 1905 a pamphlet "Attention Russian Army Officers" was circulating unofficially in Russia. It said, "Every victory of yours threatens to consolidate the tyranny of the Tsar, and every defeat brings the time of liberation nearer. Is it not astonishing that we should rejoice in the success of our enemy, Japan?" Akashi later stated that he was acquainted with Lenin and provided assistance to him. Subsequent research by historians has revealed that he never met Lenin, and Akashi's name was never mentioned in Lenin's diary. It is believed that this statement may have been made out of a depressed feeling that the General Staff had neglected intelligence warfare and Akashi had been relegated to the sidelines. Certainly his achievements were not the kind of work that would be described on the front page of history. However, he had ties to almost every insurgent organization in Russia and influenced demonstrations, strikes, and popular agitation activities in the country. The result was the Blood Sunday incident, and Russia was on the road to ruin. The Tsar had a glimmer of hope in the Baltic Fleet, which was heading for Japan from the Baltic Sea. He thought that the domestic situation in Russia could still recover from this one battle. Before that Battle of the Sea of Japan, the last major battle, the Battle of Mukden, will be explained next time. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel and press the like button.